So the big hows, this is the philosophical side of how we get this stuff done. We believe first that we meet students where they are. We can't force you to be at the 9th grade level if you're not there yet. We can't force you to be at the 9th grade level if you're already past it. We have to meet you where you are in your level of knowledge, in your level of understanding, in your level of ability, and in your interests. So we come to you rather than you coming to the table. And that also means relinquishing the illusion of control. And I say illusion of control because I think a lot of times we think that because we have a system and because we have a bell that rings and lets you go to your next class and you sit down, that means that we have some level of control over how you're learning and what you're doing. And I think most of that is an illusion. I think the power is still in your hands when you're in class and when you're in school. The problem is we're not recognizing that the power is in your hands. We're not recognizing that you get to decide, I'm going to commit to this and do this because the teacher told me to, or I'm not. Or I'm going to be interested in this because it piques my curiosity, or I'm not. The bottom line is we don't have this full control over this educational system. We just exert this level of authority that makes it feel that way. And I think it's a bit of an illusion. So we let go of that illusion that going from this bell to that bell for this class to that class is going to make us somehow more productive. And we say we need to open this up and we need to meet our students where they are and let them figure out where we need to go. And if it takes a little time, it takes a little time. Good for us because we have it. We take risks. This project for me is a huge risk. This project for any student who wants to come in the first year is a risk. This is not a safe, easy road where it's like, okay, we can check off all the boxes and do the traditional thing and it all works. We have to be willing to embrace risk. We have to be willing to say there's a safety net. We have some answers. We have some solutions if things go terribly awry. But the bottom line is we are jumping off some cliffs here. And that's a great thing. And it's a wonderful feeling if we lean into it. If we let go of that illusion of control and say we're all jumping off cliffs one way or another, the bottom line is we're just going to keep our eyes open when we do it. That's where we can really make some real learning happen. But it's important for new parents and new families to know that this is a risk. It's a good risk, and it's a significant one, and we believe in it, and we know that it's worth taking, but we have to be willing to do that. This is not for the faint of heart in terms of our looking at our educational opportunity. And if we want to play it safe, we won't be the right fit. So we also believe, though, that we gain momentum through curiosity. We don't gain momentum through grades. We don't gain momentum through whatever that, we had this discussion about, do you know the carrot and stick? Like dangling a carrot? Oh, you're right. So see, I'm used to this, they say like you dangle a carrot on the stick in front of, do you know that one? Yes. Okay, probably because you have to deal with me all the time. The carrot on the stick in front of you is that thing that you're chasing after to achieve. And in most schools, I think the carrot on the stick is the grade or the promise of college acceptance or whatever that little thing is. And we wholly and completely reject that notion. That if we're here to learn, our curiosity is the momentum maker. Our willingness and our desire to learn is the momentum maker. The excitement of finding new stuff is the momentum maker. It's not the grade. It's not any of those things. So it's important that we keep that philosophy. And it's a beautiful thing. It feels good. It feels a lot better to be running towards something that you really want to learn about than to be running towards something that you feel like you have to have and you're going to suffer if you don't get it. And that's the bottom line, that philosophy between, is it about the grade or is it about the learning? It's about the learning. It's about running into things that are good for you and that you can benefit from. It's not running towards something somebody's holding in front of you saying that if you don't get this, bad things will happen to you. It just doesn't work that way for us. Operationally, we go in the sunshine. We're an open book. We do not have all the answers to everything. We know what we're doing well enough to stay, like I say, we've got the safety net, but we're on the cliff, and we're willing to share with you every part of this experience, other than anything that would obviously infringe on the privacy rights of our students. And that makes perfect sense. But, financially, operationally, curricular, we don't keep secrets. We are fully transparent. I'd like to say that we do what the government requires of public schools plus a little bit. One thing I've always loved about the public schools is that freedom of information laws require that they release things like their budget and their salaries and all of that information that I think is valuable for a community to be able to develop trust. The fact that we're willing to give this to you to know how we operate and how we do what we do is a trust factor. It's us saying we trust you with this information as members of our community, and it's you being able to trust us to know that we're operating transparently. And I think that's vital to a healthy school community. That's in the background to our students here. Ultimately, we do this by making sure that our goal is to always give you voice, always give you power, to always give you space, and space to experiment, learn, fail, and self-regulate. This is the other one that can be a bit of a hiccup, especially for parents. It's a stressful moment in time to have our kids in high school and want them to be safe and want them to be secure and want to know that their futures are safe and secure and that everything's okay. And then to say, they're going to fail if I don't jump in and read over this paper for them. If I don't jump in and maybe, okay, so I read over it and then I ended up writing a little paragraph to tweak the end of it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this paper is not really great at all. And then before we know it, we've taken over our children's lives. And we're doing too much for them and denying them the opportunity to experience on their own and to fail on their own. And, there's the carrot and stick where a traditional school is going to tell you you can't afford to fail. Because if that's a C on your transcript, especially in your sophomore year, oh my goodness, a college won't even look at you again, right? And we don't hear that, and we're not hearing that, and we don't accept that. And our responsibility as parents and as facilitators is to give them the space, to give them the room, and to back off a little bit when we need to make sure that they can fall and fail with the safety net, don't forget. And another key area is always learning through equity, service, and humility. It's about who we are, discovering who we are, learning, becoming better people, but it's not doing that for ourselves. It's understanding that when a project has a product, it means that that product is going out to a community. It's going out maybe to our family, maybe to our culture, maybe to our community, maybe to a broader audience even, but it's always in service of what we can bring to this world and what we can give to others. It's just another core concept in our how we do it. This is kind of tough to see, but I do want this up here for you guys to take a look at because we're talking a lot of big philosophical ideas, right? And it's a lot of really crazy floating in the air fun stuff, and how do we put that on paper? This is really where the nuts and bolts come in. This is an iteration of what a transcript for a New Heights student would look like. And this comes from the Mastery Transcript Consortium, and this is the group that will be the engine for our reporting, our assessment, and our delivery to colleges, schools, institutions, places of employment that need to see what you all have done. This is essentially what a transcript looks like. The end result will change because, again, this is an earlier iteration of it, but you see that the learning competencies are measured as a whole, and it still fits on a single page. Again, for a college admissions officer or for an employer or somebody to look at, where we can see here are the quantitative, technical, scientific fluency, social, cultural, and historical fluency. The different areas that we're measuring for mastery and for ability, they are here, they're accounted for, and we can see where our students' strengths are, where they have reached competency and where they've reached mastery, and we can dig in. So as we look at this kind of wheel that shows us how students are achieving, what we see over here is a portfolio of the work that the student did throughout their high school career to demonstrate this mastery. So this allows anyone who's looking at how you learn and what you learn to see more deeply into who you are as a student, because this connects directly to the work that you do, rather than just being a piece of paper that says A, B, A, C, whatever the case may be. And that lists as a credit. We can also list out as courses, badges, other areas where we can assess or demonstrate mastery or recognize mastery. But working with the MTC, we have the full support of a national organization that is now in full implementation in several schools. The Delta School, which is down south, it's not in Mississippi actually, which is kind of funny because they're in the Delta, but not quite in Mississippi. They will be graduating their first full class that's working off of mastery transcript only, not using an academic transcript. I would say it's either next year or the year after. So we have a lot of schools that are working with this, that are researching how to quantify and how to communicate student mastery and competency-based assessment rather than just using a traditional transcript. We're not there in this community, in this area yet, and we have to maintain a traditional skeleton transcript. Again, I expect that many of our students will want to be college-bound. We are not here for the wealthy. We are here for everybody, and if my kids can't qualify for bright futures, they're not going to college because I can't afford to send them. So let's be real. We need to make sure that we're meeting the requirements of the organizations that will help our kids get to college and afford to pay for college. We can't afford to not do that. I wish we could, and I wish the Bright Futures program would allow a mastery transcript, and I think eventually they will. I think that change will come. That change is not now. So in order to make sure that we don't close doors, deny opportunities, we will maintain a very bare bones skeletal transcript of the requirements that students need, and we will maintain within this portfolio the evidence of learning. It will not happen in that traditional way where 1 credit, you got your English credit for the year. It will still be recognized through however long it took you to master it, and remembering that the state has relaxed the requirement for time and seat very recently, mostly because of virtual credits, and you can move faster, you can move slower. So we have the good benefit of saying we don't have to account for X number of hours and X time and seat to say that they've earned this full credit. We can use those alternative assessment models in order to do that, but we do need to account for these specific areas because we don't want our students lacking, especially in the opportunity, especially in the financial opportunity. It's just not we'll take a lot of risks, but that's not a risk that we're willing or able to take yet because it's just not realistic for most of our families. So I'll bet that was more than half an hour. But I think we made it fairly closely in. I cannot tell you everything that I need to tell you to make this make perfect sense. This won't make perfect sense because good learning doesn't make sense until you look back and reflect on it and realize how far you came and what you did and what you now know. And we embrace that process. We embrace that opportunity. We embrace that unknown of it. And we are excited to bring that to kids that we know can benefit from it. As far as I'm concerned, this is a better way. It's a better way, and it works because it's smaller. It works because we don't look to replicate it on a large scale. It would not be scalable. So we would look at, if we ever were to scale this idea up, it would be scaling small. So how do you create those small pockets of these opportunities where you have a 10-to-1 ratio, where students and teachers are working more closely together to develop their own learning? We believe that keeping it small is the key here, because if we stay small, we're able to stay focused on each individual student. It's really just the bottom line. That's what we want to do. That's the heart. That's our goal for our community. If you're interested, my students, you schedule a call, you schedule a meeting, an interview, we sit down and we talk. We talk further about it. If you are here now with me, or if you're watching this online because we're recording it, this isn't enough for you to know if you belong at New Heights Academy or if it's the right fit for you. We have to talk a little bit more. I hope it piques your interest enough and it wasn't too boring, right? But you need to dig a little bit deeper, and we need to dig a little bit deeper together and make sure this is the type of learning that you want to do. But we invite you in. Anybody is welcome. Anybody would fit here. Everyone would love being here. But make sure that it's the fit for you and your family. That's our big key takeaway for today as well. Schedule a call, schedule a meeting, schedule an interview. Let's talk some more about it after I have a little bit of water. There are ways to support our cause. You're watching this now and you're like, oh man, my kids graduated from high school, or my kids are in kindergarten right now. I hope you're still open by the time they get to high school. Yeah, absolutely. And I would freely say that, you can financially support our cause. You can support our cause through services, through supplies, through material. If you want to get involved, we are here and we need the help. We are a one-person operation right now, in terms of getting everything off the ground. And that's me. I'm the person, right? We have a huge network of support. We got a lot of people who are ready to jump on board as things get up and running, but we need the community to build. So if you're here for it, then jump in and contact us. Let us know, because we're not just looking for students. We're looking for the community, and we're looking for the support from the community. And if that's not from you, it might be from your neighbor or your friend or the folks that you know that have always been talking about this kind of stuff as well. So to close it out, spread the word, spread the love, spread the mission. I hope this has been informative enough for everybody to get a taste of what we're looking to do. And we'll close out and open for questions if any of you guys have any.